Hey
Yep.
Rachel, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining me. I'm sorry about all the chaos, but
It's okay.
I'm always like, okay, so I'm always so appreciative when I have clients, and all of my clients are like this, honestly, but I have this fear of like, oh my God, I'm not perfect. Are they gonna like hate me because I'm not perfect? But when I have like, like you're just so go with the flow and you get it, and like life is messy. So I just always appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I am chatting with you today because I want to hear all about your experience. And I love doing this because like I think a lot of times during a photo shoot, it's like we're going through the motions, we're chit-chatting, we're sharing stories and all this stuff. But I feel like sometimes it's like afterwards, letting it settle in, it's sort of like you can reflect more on it. And I really
Oh
love
yeah.
everybody's feedback because sometimes I hear things often from people, and that tells me that there's certain things about their experience that stick with my clients, and I feel like hearing it from everybody, their version of what stood out to them helps me make this better for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So tell me a little bit about why you came to me.
Well, first of all, my best friend, she had one done shortly before she got married. She did it for her fiance, and she showed me the pictures, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I've heard of this before, but I never really like thought much of it. I never really thought about doing it, and seeing her pictures and how much like she has a lot of body image issues and things, and she hates pictures in general. Like she just doesn't like having her picture taken. And to see the look on her face and just how in love with herself she was again was just it warmed my heart so much, and I was like, I have to do this because she had an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it was really that was like, wow, like that was really empowering for her, and it was such a great experience. And I want to do that for myself, and I ended up doing it ultimately, giving the pictures to my husband for his birthday, which he was like just blown away by. um
I love
he
it.
loved them, so it made it so worth it. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I know. It's okay. So, like, I wanted to ask you before I lose my train of thought. I think it's amazing because you got that firsthand feedback from somebody that
Yeah.
that did it.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like that is always like something that has a big impact on clients that come see me. It's like they're on the fence of it. I know you said you hadn't really heard of it before, but like they see it and then they're like, oh no, that's not me. I could, no, I'm not doing that. And then like
Yeah.
all of a sudden they come across somebody that they know in real life and they're like, oh my
Hmm.
God, like they did it. They loved it. Maybe I can do it
Yeah.
too,
Yes.
and I think that actually happens a lot. But I feel like something happens when they see boudoir photos. They look at these, flawless photos of women, and they
Yeah.
just, I think they forget that they're regular, everyday women, just like
Oh
us.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's
Yeah.
really
It's
cool
hard to
because,
separate. Yeah.
yeah. And like so for me, I always say, like as a mom, I feel like I lost a piece of who I was along the way. Like I had went through this like crisis
Yeah.
of like
Oh yeah.
uh, who am I? So
Yeah.
I
Suddenly
think that,
you're a mom. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and it's like that piece of who you are. It's like
Yeah.
you
You
forget
kind
that
of
it's
lose your
there,
identity. Yeah.
and you like let go of it. Even if you think it's
Yeah.
within you, still you don't let yourself be that person because you just think that you have to be mom. You know.
Mom. Yeah. Yep.
So
Yep.
what do you like? Was your friend? Did your friend have kids or no?
No, she didn't have
No,
any. No.
no, yeah. So like, what do you think for you? Like, how do you feel about that?
I for sure like. I mean, I have three, and it's a lot. It's a lot to take care of them every day. They're still little, so it's not like they're not going to school. Um, or anything. I am with them all day, every day, and they are all toddlers. Well, little kids and toddlers, and it takes so much out of you. At the end of the day, you're just so exhausted, and you really lose your identity. You lose like everything about yourself, and it's like just doing these pictures, and it really brings yourself back to who you are. and it makes you feel like a human again and not
Yeah.
just a caregiver. It's really amazing how, I mean, just the simplest thing has
Yeah.
such a huge impact on, yeah, it, I mean,
And
it takes
that's what
such
I
a,
was curious about because I feel like that's something that happens with a lot of my mom clients,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
just, I think whether we meant for it to be that or not, I think it does happen,
It just,
because
yeah, and you don't even really realize it. It's
like a side
just
effect you
happens.
weren't expecting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So, okay, how did you find me then? Like, did you when your friend did it and you were like, I want to do this, did you start searching?
I did. Shortly after that, I started searching, and she lived in Colorado. She had hers done in Colorado. And originally, my plan was to go out to Colorado and use the girl that she used because I thought I can tell my husband I'm going on a girls' trip, right? And then
Yeah.
turn this into a side thing. Well, then that ended up not working out because then I got pregnant with my
Oh,
third.
oh.
Yeah, surprisingly, yeah. And
Yeah.
so it was like that got put on the back burner immediately. It was like, all right, I just and I it was a very rough pregnancy. So I was not trying. I mean, even the first trimester, I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
into it right now. And so
Traveling and yeah.
yeah. So then in I had her in May of 21, and then last fall I kind of started like just Googling people in my area, just like looking at a bunch of different websites, a lot of different portfolios to kind of get the style that I wanted because the girl that she used, the style that she used was, I loved it. I just fell in love with it. And I was like, I have to have that same style. And so I
Yeah.
looked at a lot of different portfolios, a lot of different people, and yours was the one that stood out to me the most of like, this is the style I'm looking for. Like, this is who I want because
Oh,
views were amazing. The pictures were just incredible. So that's kind of how I found you and picked you was just going through and
yeah.
searching. She was honestly the only person I knew that had done these before. So I didn't
Okay.
have anybody to ask, be like, hey, I know you had yours done. Who did you use? She was the only one I knew of. So
Yeah. I
I
bet you
just did
that
a
was
lot.
intimidating, huh? Like, I feel like whenever I want to try something new and I hop on Google, I'm like, oh God, there's like
Yeah,
hundreds of pages.
yeah,
But I love that you said that like learning about your process because that's what I tell people. Every once in a while, like I would say most people that reach out to me, they've at least followed me for a little bit somewhere on the interwebs, whether it's,
yeah,
Instagram, Facebook,
yeah.
TikTok, whatever. But every once in a
Hmm.
while, I'll get somebody and they're like, nope, like I just found you on Google. Like I'm
Yeah,
just, never looked into this before. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay, well, let's get
That's
you started
literally,
here. Like we need to get you started because like the
yeah,
style of art is so important in,
yeah,
picking the right photographer. I feel like, and I always tell people, like, of course, I want to be your photographer. Like, I'm not trying to turn anybody away, but if you
right.
want bright and airy and, soft,
Hmm.
that's probably not what you're going to get with me. You're going to get really
Right.
deep, true
Yeah,
to life,
yeah,
intense photos, you know?
yeah. And like the outcome of the pictures is ultimately what you're like, that's why you're doing it. So you want the right outcome.
Yeah.
So the style is super important.
Yep. Yep. Between that and also like, talking to people because everybody comes in with different like nervousness levels, but like also some people come in and they're like, I walk around in nothing but a turtleneck. Like, you better be comfortable with somebody that you're about to get, a little
Yeah.
naked with. Like, so I feel like also you have to make sure that you feel comfortable around the person.
Oh
But
yeah,
those are probably like the
for
two
sure.
most, important things I feel like for finding a
Yeah,
photographer.
yeah, for sure. I mean, as
So,
weird as it sounds, I had followed you after I found you. I started following you like on social media and stuff. And the more I watched like your stories and your videos, I was like, I feel like I really click with her. Like I just really like
ah.
her personality, and that was really, like you said, that was really important.
Yeah. Oh, I love you. I love that. I always like if I'm like just chatting with somebody, I will like send them all of my social links because I'm like, seriously, stalk
Yeah,
everyone. Stalk every
yeah,
photographer. That's what the internet is for. Because you can really
yeah.
get a good, feel for how somebody's gonna be.
Mhm.
And I love that. That's why I'm always trying to
Who they
put
are,
stuff
yeah,
out there because if people are nervous, then they get to sit on their own time and just watch and get my vibe, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And it's almost like you get to know them a very little bit. And then when you see them in person, it's like, oh, I feel like I know you,
yeah.
and it just
Yeah.
works really well.
And I love that, but it's also like for me, I don't like superficial connections with people. Like I want to know everything about you. I want you to spill your guts and like I want us to cry together. Like
Yeah.
I'm a very deep person. So it is
Right.
so weird for me when people come in and they feel like they know me and I don't know them. Like I have to get to know them. I feel like
I'm
it honestly makes me feel like I'm so sorry. I want to know everything
I'm a
about
horrible
you.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes me feel
Yeah.
terrible, but it's just something that like I get it, you know.
It comes with the
Um
territory kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just a weird thing. But okay, so when you were coming in for your shoot, do you feel like you were prepared? Like do you feel like you had everything that you wanted or did you feel a little bit, like unsure about it?
Um, in some ways I felt prepared for it because I had like stalked everything and I knew what I was kind of getting into and I knew what I wanted. Like I had gone through a lot of pictures and seen, oh, I really like that style, of lingerie. So I'm going to make sure to bring that. But then I was also like, well, I don't know what I look best in. I don't know what styles I look best in. I know what styles this person looks best in from the picture.
True.
So I tried to when I was getting things out, I was like, I just gonna bring everything because
Yeah.
I don't know. I was really kind of unsure about that, but
Yeah. Now how do you feel like it worked out? Now in retrospect, like looking
amazing.
back, you were like, okay, nothing turned out terrible like I thought it might, or
No,
something like
not at all. I mean, you took all the random pieces that I had and put them
that.
together perfectly. Like I would not change a thing. I'm
Oh,
so
I
happy
love
with
that.
it for sure.
Yay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. Now, do you feel like when you came in, do you feel like you were just like you let go and you're like just do your thing, like this is what I want
Pretty
and just
much.
do your thing, or do you feel
Pretty
like you were
much.
like a little bit like do you feel like you had to warm up a little bit?
Um, I felt like I was pretty like emotionally prepared. Like, and I was like, just you're the professional here. You tell me what to do, what to wear, when to do it.
Yeah,
I guess it's a little bit of both. Like I was prepared, and I was like, just let's do this. But also like, you know,
yeah.
um,
Are we doing this?
yeah, pretty much. Like it's the day. This is
Yeah.
what
Oh my
I'm
God.
doing.
Right. I
Yeah.
know. Okay, so coming in, were you a little nervous then? Just coming in, it's like a little jitters, right?
Yeah, a little bit because it was like, it's an experience. It's not just like
Yeah.
showing up to, whatever, a doctor's appointment. It's an experience. And
Yeah.
so, even though you're kind of prepared, you're also not because you've never done this before. So, yeah, I was a
Amen,
little bit
sis.
nervous, but like, I mean, just sitting there getting my hair and makeup done, it was like I just calmed down and it was like, okay, this is cool. This is
That
great,
was going to be my next question. I was going to say, when do you feel like you were like, you know?
Yeah, when I was getting my hair and makeup done, we were just kind of chatting and it was just easy. It was like, oh, we're just old friends, We're
Yeah.
just getting ready, doing our thing, and
Yep.
I
I have a
became
girls'
very
day.
comfortable. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was very comfortable setting. Yeah.
Oh, good, good, good. I love that. Yeah. I always say I
Yeah.
have, just girls' days over and over again with new people. It's just so much fun, you know? Um,
Yes.
and I think that like everybody lets their guard down at a certain point once they come in. So I'm always curious to know, like, okay, how long
Yeah.
did it take for you to be like, huh? But then also like going back to your like, of course I'm nervous. I've never done this before. My other terrible mom joke is like, people jump out of airplanes, right? Like they do that. And the first time they're probably ready to pass out, but for some reason people do it again.
Yeah.
So like it's
Right.
the first time you do anything, you don't know what to expect. So of course you're going to be
Yeah.
nervous, you
There's
know?
a there's always going to be a certain level. Yeah. No matter how prepared you think you are.
Yep. Now, would you do it again?
Oh, in a heartbeat. I would love to do it again. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think
Yeah.
hubby would come for a couple session?
I think I might be able to convince him. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. He might be a little out of his comfort zone, but I think I could probably get him there.
Yeah. Yeah, my husband's real shy. I mean, he would do it if I begged him, but he would probably be like, the whole time,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's exactly how
yeah,
mine would be. You'd be like, I don't know about this,
yeah,
but
yeah. Well, let me think. What else? Oh, I guess my other question for you was, um, if you like, do you feel like you had anything that you were unsure about? You know, like things that made you nervous about potentially not having good results? Or do you feel like you were pretty confident?
um, I was confident in your ability.
Okay, I like
I
that
was because
answer.
I kind of like went through a bunch of pictures and I saved, my favorite shots
Yeah,
um that I really liked, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna show them to her and she'll know exactly what to do. That's pretty
yeah.
much what
I like
pretty
that.
much
Yeah,
what
I trusted your I trusted your ability. Yeah. And I let everything
yeah,
else go. I like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
So
mean,
then how
it's
about
not my
insecurity wise? Did you have any like
um
insecurities body wise, or do you feel like you were at a pretty good level of confidence after your baby?
um I mean, I felt pretty confident. I Of course I had some insecurities, like, just being a mom, it wreaks havoc on your body. And so you just feel different. And I think that that difference you never really get back. Because
Sure.
like we said before, it just takes so much out of you. Um,
Yeah.
and you don't really think of yourself in this setting again.
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
so on that, yeah, I was a little bit insecure, but once you started showing me the pictures when you were taking them, it was like, oh my gosh, like I am capable. I am
I
able
would
to do
like
this.
that.
Like, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it was
Yeah.
like, oh, I have not seen that side before or in a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
There
Or
she
maybe
is.
it's
It
better
was
than you
all good.
thought. You're like,
Yeah,
I mean, I was already okay with everything, but now I'm really okay with
yeah,
everything.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think to that point with mom life, it's like our bodies change. And I tell people this all the time. Right now, the scale is the same number it was for me 10 years ago before I had kids, but my body is not the way it was 10 years ago before
yeah,
kids. So,
yeah,
like, you just have to learn that your body changes and that's part of life. And you can either hate it every day or learn to love it and find different ways to look
exactly.
at it?
Yep, exactly.
So, what would you tell somebody if I wrap this up? What would you tell somebody that was considering doing this, but is maybe on the fence? What would you say?
So this is actually what I told my sister because I told her, I was like, you need to have this done. Like, you will love it. And she's like, I just, I'm, I'm not that kind of person. I'm super shy. I'm just really, intimidated and self-conscious. And, I just told her, I was like, you, you see yourself in one light, but once you see yourself from the perspective of like the camera's perspective, everything changes. And you get this confidence about yourself that you didn't know you had.
Yeah.
And I mean, it really, everything changes once you're like, oh my gosh, that's me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like it's going to take a minute for you to get into the mental space to be like, okay, I'm going to do this. But really, you really, really should do it. I mean, it's just,
Yeah. Just do it.
it's
Just
really, it's
do it.
honestly, is life changing because you just have this whole new perspective of yourself and
Yeah.
a new fierceness that you didn't know was inside of you. And that's so empowering. It really is.
Yeah. I love that. I think like I always tell people that we only get like one, maybe two versions of us, and that's like who we see in the mirror, which like that does not even
Yeah.
begin to give you a glimpse of you. Like that is such
Yeah.
a terrible way to base you. And then of course
Yeah.
your friends taking pictures of you smashing Taco Bell at 2 a.m. or like my
Yeah.
husband always takes pictures of me when I'm literally like the worst. Just I
Oh
eat like
yeah.
eating a gallon of ice cream or like it's just terrible. And I love it. It's like a little joke. And I love that he
Yeah.
loves it because those are his
Yeah.
favorite pictures to take. But like
Yeah.
also if that's the only version of you you've ever seen, honey, I got more to show you. You
Oh
know?
yeah.
And it's
Yes.
crazy to me because it's not even like there's no magic going on other than me showing you different angles of you. Like it's not like
Right.
I'm not photoshopping people's, bodies from a size 22 to a 2 or anything. I'm
Right.
just showing you what your body can do and what it's
Yeah.
capable of
Oh,
from a
yes.
different, so I think
Yeah.
that's my favorite part is people just think I'm this or I'm that and I can't do it. And I'm like,
Oh,
honey,
yeah.
all I need you to do is get in here and follow directions.
Your life will be changed, I promise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's another thing. One more thing and I'll let you go. But when, the life-changing thing, like to some people that might sound ridiculous because there are people that maybe have never heard of boudoir or they just think that it's
Mhm.
like women who want attention or just, I've heard of
Yeah.
it's not as bad now as it used to be, but there used to be just a terrible connotation with boudoir. And
Right.
people sometimes it's like I don't feel like I need to explain myself, but I have to tell people like, yeah, I love what I do and I love the art that I create. I love women in lingerie because, honey,
Oh,
you
yeah.
go, girl. But it's because I get to make women feel good. Like ultimately,
Yes.
that is it. That is my why. So
Yeah.
when I started doing this, I mean, sure, I could, have you come. I could meet you at a Airbnb and I can shoot a couple pictures of you and throw you a flash drive and be done with it. But like I put a lot of effort, into making
Yeah.
this like feel like a day for a celebrity. So
Yes.
whether that's, the editing, the studio setups, the makeup, I just want women to come in and feel like they're important for like one day, you know?
Oh, and you absolutely do. I mean, for me, it was the best day. I will never forget it. And I can't wait to do it again because it was so
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much.